Vivek Ramaswamy is calling for the release of the Nashville shooter's manifesto. Let's watch him discussing that.
Is what's really going on with the Nashville shooter manifesto. It has now been over 4 months since 6 people tragically lost their lives in that shooting. What we do know, or at least what we've been told, is that Audrey Hale, a transgender individual, shot people at a Christian school in Nashville. The FBI and the police committed to release the manifesto. We deserve to know what happened. If not, we can expect far worse in the future. I don't care whether it's the Jeffrey Epstein client lists, to the secrets of what happened on January 6th, or how many FBI agents were in the field, to what happened in the Gretchen Whitmer kidnapping case. We need a government that starts telling the truth to its people again. This example in Nashville is just another case of hiding and sweeping beneath the rug what the truth actually is, which actually erodes trust in our government and in our system.
The Nashville police have not released this manifesto. The individual who perpetrated that mass shooting is transgender.
So to be clear, the difference between the Covenant shooters case and someone like Dylan Roof, whose manifesto was instantly known and shared and discussed at length, a manifesto that, of course, was inconvenient to some right interests because of the racist conspiracy theories, the physiognomy, the anti-Semitism, all of that was in there, and the reference to Tucker Carlson and Great Replacement theory that negatively implicated those folks, even though obviously they're not responsible for that individual's actions in any direct way. Now I think the implication is that because this is a trans shooter, that they are going to have left-wing ideologies and that there's an effort to protect the left from similarly being implicated in this particular shooting. So there's like this tit-for-tat argument that's being made.
Well, a double standard.
Sure. Of course, the reality is that Dylan Roof posted his manifesto to the internet. In this case, the manifesto was found by police after they searched the shooter's home afterward. It was never available online. So it does feel a little bit like they're sidestepping the reality that this shooter happened just not to be a poster. And so now, while there's a question about
whether or not that affect
right. So now there's a question about whether or not it should be released. And the reason why it's not being released again, it's not a conspiracy theory. It's not that the Democratic Party is saying absolutely please don't release this because it's going to look bad. There's a lawsuit that's going on right now where the National Police Association, the Tennessee Firearms Association, and the Tennessean newspaper filed or joined lawsuits earlier this year demanding the Metro Nashville Police Department release Hale's statement. On the other side, families of the Covenant school students asked a judge to keep it private. An attorney that's representing 100 of the 112 families at the school told the judge in a May 22 court hearing that his client's foremost concern is the safety of their school and others, saying, quote, writings like this tend to inspire additional school shootings. So it's fine to disagree with the families of the slain kids.
Disagree.
But that's the issue. Vivek Ramaswamy should be focusing his attention to the families of the murdered children, saying, I think that you're wrong to want to keep this manifesto private.
Yeah, I don't know, with all due respect to the families, I don't think they and the police get to decide whether, we as the broader public, we as journalists get to have access, like they just get to decide behind closed doors that, no, you don't get to see this. I think it's totally fair to, fine, it's not an exact double standard because the police obtained it first, but they don't get to decide that the rest of us don't know. I mean, it's a press freedom issue. It's a freedom of expression issue. I don't think the police get to decide you don't have access to this information.
I'm not sure. I mean, there's been a lot of, the media often decides not to, let's say, print the names of shooters because they're concerned about copycat.
Sure, that's a media choice.
I understand. I'm working my way to it.
Okay.
Give me a second.
Okay.
So I'm trying to reason through this as we're thinking it through. The media often make this decision for this exact stated reason, that there is this concern about copycat killers and people getting valorized and imitated as a consequence in the media. Police often also retain information from body cameras, et cetera, saying, oh, we don't want to incite violence. We don't want there to be a riot. We're going to delay revealing evidence that's germane to X, Y, and Z case. And it will either come out after a period of delay or come out in the context of a trial when the defendants finally get their hands on it.
But there's no way you love that.
Right, when the plaintiffs get their hands on information and then they release it to the public because it's in their
We'd like
their
not
interest.
to show you this video of us, kneeling on someone's neck until they pass out because there's going to be a riot. Well, sorry, you don't get to decide that. We get access to that information.
Well, but that's not the point that I'm making. Well, I agree that I don't think I for political reasons, think that information should come out. It is the case of the police making these kinds of decisions. They do make these decisions all the time to delay disclosing certain kinds of evidence at the very least. And I'm trying to work through, does it ultimately come out because they decide to release the information that makes them look bad in these instances? Or is it because in the course of trial, the plaintiffs get the information has to be disclosed to them, and they ultimately release it? I think that's an interesting question that I'm not sure about. But the question of whether or not the police have the capacity, the ability to retain that kind of information, it seems obvious that they do, at least for some period of time, absent a trial that requires the information to come out. So again, I'm trying to get to the bottom of, there's the question of whether it should come out, which I think people can have different opinions on, and the question of whether or not the police are acting out of turn or acting in a way that's different from how they act in certain instances. And I'm not entirely sure that that's true.
But just in all those instances, I think that they should have to release the information.
Sure.
I don't think they should be allowed to decide, nah, we just don't think you get to see this.
Yeah, I don't think it makes that much a difference.
I think if the media wants to decide, we're not going to give coverage to mass shooters' manifestos because we think that inspires copycats or something, that's fine. Although, again, as you pointed to, they weren't going to not report that Dylan Roof or whoever was, had watched Fox News or something. So if we want to start saying we're not going to probe any mass shooters' political thinking or how they, or whatever their warped mentality is, fine, but that should just be across the board then. And that's where it is not across the board.
Well, I'm pushing back against that conflation. We don't know what this manifesto says because the shooter did not publish it. So this isn't the media saying I'm really interested in Dylan Roof and not interested in the Covenant shooter. Maybe if it eventually comes out and the liberal media ignores the content in the manifesto, you can make that claim. And I don't have any doubt that if it comes out and it's politically inconvenient content in the manifesto, the liberal media will have much less interest in it than they did Dylan Roof's. That's indisputable. I have no interest in pushing back against the idea of that. But again, this is not a moment where at this point we can judge the liberal media, because it's not the liberal media on the side of trying to block this from coming out. On one hand, it's the Tennessean, which is I don't know what kind of media, wanting it to come out. On the other side, there's no media. It's just the families of the victims.
No, right now, some journalists are working to get access to this information, and the police are thwarting them, and they shouldn't do that.
Well, no. The families of the Covenant, there's no police. It's a lawsuit that the family of the Covenant school victims and the other families at the school have brought to try to keep the manifesto private. It's not the police. That's what I'm really trying to get at. I don't think I don't know. It's the police that are literally suing to try to get this released. The National Police Association and the Tennessee Firearms Association are the ones that are demanding that the Nashville Police Department release the statement. And the only bar, as far as we know, I suspect the Nashville Police Department is very happy to let this get out. Maybe I shouldn't speculate about that. But on the other side, as has been reported, it's just the families of the Covenant School students who've asked this judge to keep it private. So, I think that Vivek Ramaswamy,
I had read that they originally decided that they would release it and then changed their minds. But maybe that was only because
they changed their mind because of the Covenant School students.
Well, and some of the parents, have been doing that.
Yeah, so this attorney that I cited before only represents 100 of the 112 families. So it's certainly possible that the 12 other families.
So initially the police said they would not release the writings. So the police department had said that from the beginning. Then after this, the parents, then they changed their rationale for not releasing it to, we can't because of the lawsuit. But initially they said they would not be releasing them. So anyway, I think more disclosure in that matter, and all the other things. Vivek did a greatest hits of things the government is maybe keeping secret.
Did he do a greatest hits? Did he talk about corporate collusion with the defense industry, all the government waste there?
Let's release it.
Right, but he said from this to that, as though he was like showing a range of interests across the ideological spectrum, and then listed like 5 right-wing interest groups. I mean, That's fine. Just say that you're right wing. Don't pretend like I'm the strident defender of disclosures and transparency in government when you don't give a fig about any of the corruption, as evidenced by the fact that you're taking hand over fist money from some of the worst actors in the American public to fund your campaign, and are allergic to the idea of a no corporate money pledge or small dollar donations or campaign finance reform or any of the things that would inject more democracy into our country.
But there should be more disclosure in all the things that he mentioned, and I hope we get that. More Rising after this.